Greetings, God bless. I'm just posing a question. So, those of us who have been learning about the mud floods and antiquitech and Tartaria, there's 0 point energy, it appears, that used to exist in this worldwide wonderful culture called Tartaria that the founders and the parasites have done their best to erase. And so, what people have been cobbling together from looking at the evidence left behind is that the founders, once they kind of got stabilized, they started digging out buildings and started appropriating the found remains of civilization. And so it just dawned on me, could the material for Star Trek, Star Wars, and other stuff we see in movies or TV, could that have actually been antiquitech that was just repurposed for psychological operations, programming or whatever, what we call entertainment. So yeah, it's just a thought, and it could be plausible. I mean, we like to think that this was everybody's imagination, but you know, much of a lot of science fiction things seem to be coming true, and a lot of science fiction actually seems um, biblical. Actually, if you know what the genealogy of monsters are and of supernatural things, everything is really simple once you study the Bible, the King James Bible. Paranormal stuff is real, and fantasy creatures, they are real. They're just created by Satan, because God just created humans and angels. So God didn't create fairies and monsters and ogres and whatever. So anyway, yeah, I am wondering if C3PO and R2d2 and the Millennium Falcon and all these, the Death Star, this might have been actually stuff from another civilization, and it was just copied. I actually also wonder if what we call classic literature was really from the time that we think that literature is from. Was, Dostoevsky really from the 1800s, or was um, Jane Austen really from the 1700s? Was it from our 1700s, or was it from a different 1700s? Because it appears that there's been a manipulation of time, whether it's some sort of calendar manipulation. Who knows if we've gone into another dimension? I don't know. But yeah, I really, and a lot of folks say that prolific authors like Shakespeare, I heard, because I was taking a class and my teacher said that Shakespeare did not write those plays because there was not one coherent signature of somebody named William Shakespeare during that time period. The signature that we see, that's given to us as Shakespeare's signature, is one letter taken from the best of the multiple signatures that were there. So the guy who's supposed to be this genius had like atrocious handwriting. And this was a handwriting analysis teacher. And you do not have a brilliant person who cannot form letters properly. Like, this is the most articulate wordsmith of literature besides God. And this guy, Shakespeare, can't write. So there's speculation that all of the big famous authors that we love and admire were not actually this one individual. And John Levi makes really good points about like these so-called architects or builders of these monumental castles and whatnot, like these campuses. like college campus, things, and they'll say it was done in a year, and then it was destroyed 5 years later or something like that. Like these incredible structures that we could not actually create with and build within a year, much less with the grandeur that these Tartarian structures have been built. So Don Levi is definitely pointing out how much there's lies. We're told that during with the horse and buggy, they built these brick and mortar huge campuses for 400 people. Like so when we run with all of that, it becomes clear that anything is possible. And who knows if the George Washington that we're referring to was from our time period, per se. So, yeah, it's just logical that if some parts of major, parts of our history has been manipulated and hidden and changed, well, then everything else has to go along with that. So, yeah, those are my thoughts. That what we're being told is futuristic is actually we're so far away from a C3PO or a Millennium Falcon or whatever. And yeah, it's from what my research, and I would say Mud Fossil University with Roger Spur. Um, he has some very interesting, and also he had this one. He didn't really focus a lot about it, but it seemed like it was a cyborg because it was a human anatomy with metal springs in it. So I'm wondering, what like robot flesh, robot human being that was a giant hundreds of years ago. So yeah, and if you just look at the Bible tells you there were giant people, and we've been devolving ever since Adam and Eve from the garden. So who knows if when God created the world, if there was antiquitech? That's what I've been trying to figure out. Is so when God created Eden, or even before He had Adam and Eve, did God initially have a civilization that was all concrete? Maybe that was the gap theory. And then when Adam and Eve were here, did God then have everything built with brick? And then there was all these battles or something. And then, it seems like we're in this. I don't know if it's a third phase or a seventh phase or something like that. Um, but we're definitely in what I think is like a cargo cult version. Like where we're thinking, we're actually much more primitive than even the people who originally built the first couple times around, right? Because we're just like our construction, it takes millions of dollars and it looks horrible. It's a assault to the eye and the heart and the mind and the spirit. Like our architecture is so horrible. I'm just like Jesus, stand these horrible buildings. I love old historic structures. So, anyways, yeah, the Bible tells us, just validates a lot if we're willing to look. So, yeah, what do you think about antiquitech being the truth, and this whole futuristic sci-fi thing being a lie? This futuristic sci-fi thing is our past. That's what I'm saying. It's what we had in the past. And we're just told, oh yeah, the combustion engine, that's all we got, and these planes that, that's all we got, and you're causing pollution, so you got to stop taking a plane or being on a car. When in fact there was free energy, and they used to have dirigibles, those blimps those large balloon type of transportation devices. Among there was probably teleportation. There was also those railroads, lots of like tunnels and subways and whatever that the automobile industry tore up and destroyed to force everybody to have a car. And now the globalists are trying to take away the car, keeping people, like reducing people back to a feudal state where people are going to be like, only able to walk within a couple miles. And if you're elderly, they're going to just send you to the euthanasia place because most things, most necessities are not within a couple miles of your house. Like in the suburb, you have to go a half hour minimum to get to a store. Like what are the globalists thinking, and what are the people in America thinking when they're like, yeah, 5-minute cities and just need to be trapped in my suburb or trapped in a city with all the crazy people. Like, so yeah. Anyways, I think we had the technology that we're being brainwashed is high tech. I think we had futuristic technology, and it's been hidden from us all this time. So that was my point. Thanks for watching. God bless.